Welcome to Henderson Library's Home Edition. My name is Miss Rita, and I brought a friend with me today to share some stories. It looks like he's hanging upside down because he likes to hang upside down. Mr. Bat lives in an attic. Now in Henderson, in Nevada, we don't have too many attics, but in old houses from long ago and even old houses today, there are attics. You may have a house with one story. You may have your bedroom on the second story, but above the second story of the house is an attic. And that's where bats like to hang out, sometimes upside down, and they listen to stories. I brought all my bats on my head today because they have been listening to stories. And they told these stories to me, and I'm going to tell them to you. And if you want to be a storyteller, this fall, starting September 17th, we have stories that go bump in the night, scary stories. So if you're in grades 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, you can go to the hendersonlibraries.com webpage, click on our calendar for September 17th, and join our storytelling club, Stories That Go Bump in the Night. And we're going to start today with a story called, and can you help me with this story? I know you're not here in the room with me right now, but as we're filming, when I go like this, I need you to help me tell this story. And when I go like this, you're going to say, I've got you where I want you, and now I'm going to eat you. Let's practice. I've got you where I want you, and now I'm going to eat you. Perfect. There was once a family, 2 brothers and a sister, that walked home from school every day past an old haunted house. At least everyone said it was a haunted house. It was old and crumbling, covered with cobwebs, and all the boys and girls ran past that house as fast as they could. But this family, the older brother, the middle brother, and the younger sister, decided one day they would be brave and see what was in that house. Well, the oldest brother, he decided to go first. So he went into the house. He crept up the stairs to the first floor. He crept up the stairs to the second floor, and then he crept up to the attic. Remember, that's where the bats like to live, in the attic. And he went up to the attic, and he sat down and he waited. And suddenly he heard a voice say, I've got you where I want you, and now I'm going to eat you. He was so afraid he ran down 2 flights of stairs and out the front door and ran all the way home. Well, his middle brother, his younger brother, said, I'm not afraid. I can go in that house. And he went in that old haunted house, at least they said it was haunted, and he went up the first flight of stairs and the second flight of stairs, and he went up to the attic. And when he was in that attic, he didn't see any bats, but he did hear a voice say, I've got you where I want you, and now I'm going to eat you. He ran down those 2 flights of stairs, out the front door, and he ran all the way home. Some people said he hid under his bed when he got home. Now, who did that leave left? The younger sister. And if you know anything about stories, sometimes it's the younger one who solves most of the problems. Well, that younger sister said to herself, I'm not afraid like my 2 older brothers. I'm going to go in that house. And she went in that old house, up the creaky stairs, up the first set, up the second flight of stairs, up to the attic, right? And when she got to the attic, she waited and she listened. And you know what that voice said to her? I've got you where I want you. Now I'm going to eat you. Was she scared? No. She said, I'm going to see where that voice is coming from. And then the voice got a little bit louder and said, I've got you where I want you, and now I'm going to eat you. Now, she wanted to run down those stairs. She wanted to run home like her 2 older brothers, but she was brave. And she listened one more time, and the voice got even louder. I've got you where I want you, and now I'm going to eat you. Was it a ghost? Was it a goblin? What was it? It seemed to be coming behind a door. It looked like there was an old door, a closet door in that attic. So that little girl, she got all of her bravery. She walked over to that door and she heard the voice say one more time, "I've got you where I want you, and now I'm going to eat you." So she opened up the door. And what do you think she saw? She saw a monkey, and the monkey was eating a banana. And she went home and told this story to her 2 older brothers, and they still didn't believe her. Now, you may have heard this story before. I've told this story to many boys and girls, and they always tell me there's another version where the monkey isn't eating a banana. Do you know what he was eating? Ask your friends, maybe they've heard this story before, because there is another version of this story. Well, the story, "I've got you where I want you, and now I'm going to eat you," is an old folktale. It's a campfire story. You may have heard it when you were out in the woods around a campfire and people were telling scary stories. It wasn't written by just one author, like you see books in the library. It's been told for many, many years. And you can tell the story yourself, and you can have that monkey eating anything you want, or you can have anything you want behind the door. Our second story is called Tilly. And I need your help with this one too. And this is an easy part. You just have to say the girl's name. Tilly. Let's try it. Tilly. Oh, good. You said that really scary like. Well, once upon a time, there was a little girl named Tilly. Now, Tilly loved to be scared. She might have known the little girl from the first story. And Tilly just wanted to sleep up in her attic. Remember, that's way up at the top of the house? And she said to her mom and dad, "Please, please, 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 can I sleep in the attic all by myself?" "Well," said her mother, "if you promise you won't be scared." "Oh, I'll be scared," said Tilly. "I love to be scared." So her mom and dad said she could sleep in the attic. And that night she went up 1 flight of stairs, 2 flights of stairs to the very top attic. She didn't see any bats in the attic, none like this bat or the bats on my head, but she got under the covers of an old bed up in the attic and she went to sleep. But no sooner had she fallen asleep than she heard a voice say, "Tilly, Tilly, I'm on the stairs." Oh, she loved it. She loved being scared. This was really cool. And then she heard the voice again. "Tilly, Tilly, I'm on the top step." Oh, this was so cool. She'd never been scared like this in her life. Oh, this was the best. And then the voice said, "Tilly, Tilly, I'm right outside your door." Tilly was getting a little bit scared. So she put the covers over her head and she fell asleep. Now the next morning she said to her mom, "You know, Mom, maybe I shouldn't sleep in the attic anymore. I heard voices up there last night." "Oh," said her mother, "Tilly, it's just your imagination. Now you wanted to sleep in the attic, and I made that bed for you up there. So you're going to sleep in the attic." So the next night, Tilly went up the first flight of stairs and the second, and she got up to the attic. Again, there were no bats, but she covered herself up in a blanket, and what do you think she heard? "Tilly, Tilly, I'm opening your door." "Tilly, Tilly, I'm by your bed." Oh. "Tilly, Tilly, Tilly, I'm going to pull back your covers." And she felt something on the bed. And then the voice said the last time, "Tilly, Tilly, I gotcha." Oh, Tilly's heart was racing, but she didn't see anything in the room, and she fell back asleep. And the next morning when she woke up, she decided it had all been a dream. And she wasn't afraid anymore. At least she thought it was a dream. So if you ever ask to sleep up in an attic and you hear a voice saying, Annie, Billy, Susie, you have to decide, is it real or was it just a dream? And that's the story of Tilly. It's an old American folktale. It's called a gotcha story. Kind of, when you tell that story, if you join our storytelling club, you can kind of tell that kind of story. When you get really close to the audience, you want them to jump. Now, I don't have an audience in front of me, so I don't have anybody to jump, but maybe you'll jump when you hear these stories at home. Now, our last story today comes from folktale collections. Now, in the library, we have lots of folktale collections. This is More Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. It's a 398.2 book, so we know it's an old book of stories. I also brought Scared Witless, 13 Eerie Tales to Tell. And these stories have been told for many, many years. So the last story we're going to share today comes from Scared Witless, and maybe you can even tell it with me. It's a short story, and I bet you can. It goes something like this. I was walking home one day, and I noticed an old house. It was very dark. In fact, it was a dark house. And when I saw that dark house, I went up some dark steps. And I opened the door, and in that house there was a dark hallway. And I went up one flight of stairs and 2 flights of stairs up to the, what do we call that top part? The attic. There were no bats in the attic. There were no monkeys eating bananas. There was no voice calling, Tilly. But it was so dark, I couldn't tell what was up there. So I walked around the attic until my foot hit something. It was a chest, a dark chest. And I reached down and I opened up the dark lid of that dark chest. And out came the hand of a skeleton. And that skeleton hand rose up from that dark chest. And you know what he had in his hand? A card. Now, I didn't know whether to open it or not, but I thought I'd give it a try. So I took that card out of the skeleton's hand. And when I opened it, are you ready? Gotcha! There were 3 ghosts ready to tell me another scary story. But I'll have to tell you that story next time if you come and join us for Scary Stories. Don't forget Scary Story Club. Learn how to be a storyteller. This summer we imagined our stories. You can make up your own scary story. You can learn a scary story from long ago. And if you want to tell the story of the dark house, which is sometimes called the dark room, but there's always a chest and there's something dark coming up, you can tell this story to a friend and you can make this dark card that goes in the dark chest in the dark house on the dark street. And you can do that because when you go to your library, there are craft kits. And in the craft kit to make this card, there are 4 things. There's going to be 1 orange piece of paper, which is the cover of your card. And you just fold it in half like this to make the card, just like ours. Except ours have ghosts in them right now. Okay. Inside, there's also going to be a black sheet that's already been cut out on a die cut machine. And you just have to fold it in half and then fold down the flaps so it looks like this. And you have little flaps that are sitting up like this. So when you get your black paper, you're just going to fold it in half and then fold it so that you can see the flaps that the ghosts are going to sit on. Sometimes this is a little tricky, but your mom and dad can help you just so that it folds like that and you can see the flaps. And the last step is to take a little bit of glue and you're going to put a little bit of glue on each flap. 1, 2, 3, and the last thing in your craft kit will be 3 ghosts. And you reach in, and let's see if they're hiding. Are you in there, ghosts? I count 1, I count 2. Come on. There he is, number 3. And then I just take the ghosts and I fold this. And you could probably do it a lot faster than Miss Rita can. Let's see if I can get these ghosts on here. There. And remember, they're going to fold. They're going to stick out. It really is easier than it looks. Let's put the second. Maybe I need a little more glue. All right. Thank you. And we're going to fold it out so it sticks out like a card, like a pop-up card. And we're going to put that ghost right on there. Ah, he's sticking that time. Then we put the second ghost on. We just glue him. And the third ghost. And then when you fold it, I'm going to let this dry just a little bit. But when you fold it, you've got, these are the 3 that are sticking out. So my ghosts are 1, 2, 3. But I want to let them dry a little bit before I pop it. But when I do, the ghosts will be right on the pop-up card. So when you open up your card, you can say, gotcha. So please come to the library and pick up a craft kit, tell a scary story, and join us for stories that go bump in the night. September 17th is our first meeting on Zoom. And we had a storytelling club this summer. We're going to have another one this fall. It's for grades 4 through 8. You can go to the library website, go to our calendar, sign up for September 17th. We meet on Zoom every Thursday at 4 p.m. and we tell each other stories. So would you take one of the stories you heard today? Don't scare anybody too much, but share with them a scary story. Thank you for coming and enjoying our stories, and we'll see you next time. Bye.